Hello, I want to speak about. I uploaded some videos about learning languages, and my standpoint is quite neutral. I'm neither the unable learner that struggle whole his or her life to achieve a quite a mediocre level of one foreign language, nor the hyperachiever, hyperachiever, um, multi-language learner that boasts his skills everywhere, tries to impress people, and tries to have many hits on YouTube through this attitude and aptitude. I think that in this case, I would say something. Um, People tend to do things mainly in this um, period and this new society that I don't like. People tend to do things just to see the results. I do things because this is going to have a lot of views on Facebook, on YouTube, and knowing many languages is one of those skills that impress other people. But I tell you why it's quite not that good. First of all, to appreciate the knowledge of anyone's, you should know the same languages that he knows and know better than he does, because in order to evaluate something, you should know the things quite well. Nobody evaluates someone who's, I mean, to make a long story short, most of the cases you can judge one or two or three of those many languages that the polyglot speaks, and for the rest you can take his words for it. I mean, and most of the time, I tell you something. There are those who have a good ear for languages, and they can almost pass off as native speakers because they develop and they acquired the phonology of a language, which is good. But knowing a language is really to mastering several skills. I mean, the ability to put things together, which is grammar, and the amount of material you use to speak, which is vocabulary, and then the amount of material that make your language more natural and expressive, which is idioms, proverbs, whatever native speaker use it. And knowing a language is to be on the same level in every skill. When you don't have all this skill more or less on the same level, something sounds weird. Every time a person knows many words but make mistakes, or doesn't make mistakes, knows many words and idioms but speaks in a funny way, sound even more strange. So my idea is, when you are on the web and want to impress people, the first thing people notice is your pronunciation. We don't really know how many idioms he knows, how much fluent he is, because most of the times they prepare the videos, they can make several videos, or they can edit to show where he speaks fluently. But most of these people, they know 15 languages. Believe you me, they're not fluent in 15 languages. Nobody can be fluent in 15 languages. And they can get by in 15 languages. They know some of them very well and some of them not that well. But you assume that if somebody speaks perfect Chinese and then suddenly speaks Vietnamese, he speaks perfect Vietnamese. But it's not like that. And I know, because languages was not my first interest, but was among my main interests with sports, but that's another thing, and music, and singing and playing several instruments, and that's the same thing as my understanding is that you can master perfectly 2 languages, nearly perfectly 3. That's why I dumped some languages, because I can understand, I can get by, but I decided which are the languages I like most. And the languages I like most, and the languages that I use in real life, and that express a part of my personality, which is 2 of them express my life, living in Italy and living in an English-speaking country, and the 3rd part expresses my choice that happened a long time ago, and for a long time I quit speaking that languages, which is modern Greek, and also studied ancient Greek. When it comes to modern Greek, which is really an acquired language, but I really used to speak very well, then I forgot, and then I resumed using the language. Modern Greek is my idea that in order to speak a language, you have to use every fucking time you have the chance to speak it. Never use English. I see a lot of people, they struggle with languages. And you have people who cannot speak one language, another who can speak 10 or 15. And the reality is that those who speak so many languages don't master all of them, but they know how to go about learning a foreign language. They know what is essential, and they know, once you achieve the 2nd language or the 3rd, all the other languages, obviously you would speak better if you stayed with 3. But my point is, in order to add the other languages, the time you need is less, because your brain has achieved an ability to detect patterns, to differentiate sounds, and that's very important. So I'd say learn the language. I already said in another video that you really need, because our brain tend to fix. In other words, we tell him, I don't know, what it is important, but what we subconsciously feel that is important, and what do we feel is important, what we use, what we hear. So being exposed to the language, or in a situation in real life where we use that language, is very important. For example, I learned modern Greek, I learned grammar on my own, and then I started, I got some lessons from a native speaker. I used to record lessons because at the time there was no internet. That means where is a will, there is a way. And then I was at the university, and I used to deal a lot with Greek people, or Cyprus, Greece, okay, from Cyprus or from Greece. And I would always speak Greek. I never used Italian. That's the key. You don't learn a language speaking about the language, using another language. You learn the language using the fucking language you want to learn. Okay? Another thing, don't make excuses. Oh, but I don't live in Greece. I will never be good. Oh, fuck you. Sorry if I say that. Fuck you. You have internet. You can listen to the language. You can see movies. You have books with an audio part. Do not make excuses. Obviously, if I were Greek, I would speak perfect Greek. That's the point. You are not. If you learn a second language, it means it's not your language. Okay? Another thing, leave well enough alone. Do not try to be perfect. Because if you try to be perfect, it's good to try to be better, but you are going to have a lot of disappointment. You will never be perfect. You will make mistakes. That's learning a new thing. Can be an instrument, can be a language. If you cannot stand being a beginner, don't try anything, because you always be a beginner. In time, you will move on. You will make headway. So the point is, try to enjoy the trip. Some people learn many languages because they like so much enjoying the trip, and when the trip is almost done, because they are quite fluent, not native speakers, they want to start a new language. It's like people who like the process of, of budding love, but when the love has bloomed, they quit and I want to find another one. I find that quite bad, because sometimes you need to stick to what you are doing to achieve a very high level. So, as for example, I have priorities. Italian, I'm not going to forget it because I live in Italy. My priority is English. That doesn't mean I don't want to speak modern Greek. My modern Greek is quite fluent because I watch movies, and I understand. If you don't believe me, Boronasas Miloli Nikata Neho Kanena Problema, Otan Prokidea Apla Pragmata, Ketalipa, Catalaveno Oti Dipo de Akuo, Schiedon, Che Borona Miloch. Χωρίς να σκέφτομαι πολύ τώρα έχω αγγλική προφορά, μίλαγα ελληνικά, αγγλικά προηγουμένως. Other thing, another thing is quite sometimes I'm used to speaking different languages. What I'm not used to doing is to switch from one language to the other language fast. When I was speaking Greek, I noticed that in my mind there was the English way of speaking, and if I switch to Italian now, which is supposedly my native language, pum, ta, pa, pa, ok, ho bisogno di qualche secondo per muovermi da una parte del cervello che è quella inglese a quella italiana, and it's very difficult to have all this memory data in your mind and your way of speaking detached from the other language. You will always, if you speak fluently 3 languages, you will have moments when you say something in Greek, which is not even your first language, because that concept and that idiom is in Greek, is more present in Greek than in the other languages. So I try not to confuse. When you're sleeping, you're drunk, you're tired, remember there can be some what is the right word? Anyway, influences. I try to, sometimes I speak English because, okay, I know there will be more people, but I have no problem speaking Greek. I sometimes upload videos where I speak Greek for 20 or 30 minutes, and I found that many foreigners or people who have πολύ άσχημη προφορά στα ελληνικά. Δεν ξέρω γιατί, αλλά νομίζω ότι πριν χάρη για να είναι Ιταλό, η ελληνική προφορά δεν είναι καθόλου δύσκολη. Αλλά ο τρόπος που μιλάει ο Έλληνας, η μουσικότητα ας πούμε, είναι λίγο διαφορετική. Τώρα, μιλώ εγώ σαν Έλληνας? Όχι. Μιλώ καλύτερα από πολλούς που μαθαίνουν ελληνικά, ναι. Δεν ξέρω γιατί καμιά φορά, δεν ξέρω, για μερικές γλώσσες και οι Έλληνες κάνουν το ίδιο λάθος. Δεν νομίζουν ότι η προφορά είναι σημαντική. Η προφορά είναι σημαντική. Είναι μια ικανότητα, δηλαδή που κάνει αυτούς που σας ακούνε να σας καταλαβαίνουν. Γιατί αν όλοι οι ήχοι είναι λάθος ή πολλοί από αυτούς, ο άλλος που ακούει έχει ένα αίσθημα δυσφορίας, δεν ξέρω πώς να το πω. Εντάξει. I wanted to say some things about languages, and speaking different languages makes what I'm saying more believable, and that means I know what I'm talking about. Or when it comes to my accent, being someone who lives in Italy, and I never lived, I don't have like one, I was checking, I want to say that my accent is quite bastard. There's something of Italian, a lot of English, a lot of American English. Everything is mixed. The only thing that I think that's quite understandable. I see sometimes some people uploading videos, for example, about guitars. Some of them have a thick accent that puts off a lot of people who are not English native speakers. I don't think I have that. Obviously, I always think that we don't have an accent. We speak very well. Even in our native language, I don't have a regional accent. No, we have. However much we try, we always, unless we have language coach that some actors have to play some parts in movies, some roles, we always have an accent. But that is not an excuse. Okay? We try to make our best, to do our best. You see? We try not to have an accent, or to minimize the accent. I think I made my point. Bye.